Namaste. Hello, beautiful souls. Hello, Hannah. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and I'm an intuitive reader and teacher of tarot and all things metaphysical, intuitive healer. Today, on this particular segment, Tuesdays, this series, Card Comparisons, we're looking at challenging cards in the tarot that are difficult to understand the nuances between them. And I've been looking at this for, I believe this is episode 17 now. And I'm continuing to plan. I'm planning ahead with this series, and it will continue on for some time. So please go ahead and continue to put your requests both into the chat and the comments below. One of the things going forward, a lot of my heavy teaching videos, I am going to put under a membership on my channel. There's a lot of preparation that goes into these videos, and as well as the ones where we go into deep dives of decks and so forth. So there may be some changes coming up on my channel, and I will be doing a video to let you know when and if that is happening. But today we're looking at the energy of the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles, which I totally get is a challenging energy. Welcome to Shannon. Hello. Good morning. And Joel, welcome. Lydiane, Kiara, hello. Yeah, this has been this is not an easy two cards to differentiate. So I think one of the first things we really need to wrap our heads around. And to everyone in the background, hello. I see there's a few others here that are not in the chat, so welcome and namaste. This is the Pagan Other Worlds Tarot that we are looking at here. And I'm just going to take off that annoying banner so you can don't need to see. You don't need to know that that's a card cam. Pagan Other Worlds. This is an Usi deck. And I love the court cards in this particular deck. So there we go. And there's something about this, particularly this Queen of Pentacles. She's just so rich. And I've got several decks on the table today. Hello, Selena, Snowfox Tarot, and Jamie, Mountain Bardic Path. Welcome. Jackie, namaste. Hello, welcome to you as well, too. There's just something about the court cards, the Emperor, the Empress, the Strength card in this deck that just do an amazing job. Other decks we're going to look at today are Bone Stone and my new lovely Om Tarot, Textured Tarot, and the Gaian Tarot. And I think the Gaian Tarot is really going to help with this process, and perhaps other decks as well too. So pull out your Queens of Pentacles and your Empress cards and have a good look at them. Basics. So tarot basics. The card on the left is part of the major arcana. What does that mean? What does that mean that it's a major arcana? Well, it means that it is a universal archetype. It is part of the collective conscious. It means that this archetype lives within all of us, and depending on what your beliefs are, these archetypes present in different ways during different lifetimes, and they all might be there running in the background, but certain ones are going to be definitely, tattooed to your forehead during certain parts of your life. And we all understand the energy of each of these archetypes. If you have archetype oracle decks, you'll know that there are hundreds and thousands of archetypes out there in collective consciousness. And the ones that I'm going to say are major archetypes, we tend to, archetypes like the mother and the Empress and the Father, and there's so many of them. In each of our lives, different archetypes are going to take a major role and others a backseat role. But the energy of the Empress is the archetype of the universal mother. So the supernal mother. This is the archetype of the divine feminine energy. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, that means that there is across most, and I won't say all because I haven't studied all faiths, all forms of spirituality, there is definitely a receptive and an active energy that balances each other. And this archetype is represented through the sun and the moon. It's represented through all that is tangible and all that is intangible. It is all pervasive. And the thing is that one cannot exist without the other. So we cannot understand the Empress energy without understanding the Emperor energy. They do not exist in isolation. There are qualities of each in both, and they support one another. And a lot of this has come to me a lot clearer through working with my yogic studies. And the more that I work with the moon and the solar cycles, the more that I understand this as well too. It's a dance, right? It's a dance between the moon and the sun. And if you were on a planet where there were many moons, this would be even more pronounced. The fact that we have so much going on the planet right now, as far as environmental issues and longevity of the planet, survival of the planet, this Empress energy is very, very strong. This is an energy, it's the energy of COVID. You know, the energy of the land crying out for help, for healing the land and its people. And so the energy of the Empress represents everything that you see in front of you. It is the divine made manifest. The divine made manifest. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. Each of the minor suits in the minor arcana have a path. They have a path that goes from Ace to 10, and then there's 4 court cards that are part of that journey as well too. And so as we go from the Ace to the 10 in the minor arcana, there is a path to a higher way of being, to a higher frequency. It definitely is more of a day-to-day quality, but there's certainly spiritual aspects that are, depending on the reading, depending on the day, are an important part of each of the minor arcana. And so if each of the paths of the minor arcana are a path to enlightenment, then for sure the energy of the Empress and the Emperor exist within each of the minor suits as well too. And so when we're looking at the suit of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, she is the queen who is most deeply connected to the earth itself. And so this is where the confusion comes in, because the nuances between these two cards are so very, very subtle. Okay, so let's talk about the court cards. So what are the court cards? Well, there's 16 of them in most decks. And unlike, I'm going to say, unlike the archetypes that live in the major arcana that are infinite, and I probably will be contraindicating myself here. The 16 court cards are, if you look at different teachings, different studies, these are very common 16 faces of self. And the 4 pages, the 4 knights, the 4 queens, the 4 kings. And if you read them as the 4 kings, the 4 queens, the 4 knights, and the 4 pages, or if you work with the tarot, the Thoth tarot, then you call the kings knights and the queens are queens, and you have princes and princesses, and whatever you call them, there's 16 different faces. And like the archetypes of the major arcana, these 16 faces are very much a part of our life. And some are more predominant than others. But there's a limited spectrum here. Whereas with the major arcana, I feel like there's an unlimited spectrum of archetypes that live there. These faces of the minor arcana are faces that present as humans generally. Generally, these humans come into our life to help us to understand ourselves. And these, while it's funny, because people say the court cards are so difficult to understand, they're actually the easiest to understand, because they are your friends, they are your family, they are your co-workers, they are every relationship that you've ever had in your life. They are the people that surround you and the people that you have chosen to surround yourself with so that you can learn day-to-day lessons and help to pick away and chip away. That's what I wanted to say. Chip away at some of the bigger lessons of the major arcana. When I look at these faces of and I mean, she is so beautiful and graceful and royal, but we're going to look at other decks where she looks more accessible. The Queen of Pentacles is also connected to the mother archetype, but she is here in this world. She's not an all-pervading energy that is within and among everything. There's a more accessible quality to the court cards. Okay, so I'm going to pause, just check in with the chat and see if you have said anything or asked anything that I need to address before I go on. So thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate your support. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. And, I received this as a gift as well, too. I did. This is beautiful. It was from Isabel. She's on time to time on my channel, and I absolutely love this deck. And she also knit a little pouch for it. So it's a very special deck to me. You're waiting for your own to arrive. I'm really enjoying it. So, well, if you don't have any of these decks, I hope that you enjoy them and you can see something, a new face or a new aspect that resonates with you. Let's go to Lydia Ann's comment. Yes, and I'm going to talk about the fact that she is standing, because often she is seated in a throne. And I think, Hannah, that's a very beautiful description. All of the 16 archetypes are the faces and the people that we come into. And I don't want to call them, they are archetypes. They're like mini archetypes. They're the 16 faces of the court cards are people that we encounter in our day-to-day life. And just because they're pages does not mean they are adults. And please remember that everything I say here is not set in stone. It is the way that I have learned to understand the tarot. And there's for sure, I recognize different ways to interpret, but I can see the pages in many, many adults that I know, and these qualities of the pages and the knights and the kings and the queens live within us at different times of our life. And for me, the Sadhana who loves to, I don't know, there's a blend, right? Sometimes you can't separate, like I was saying with the Emperor and the Empress. They support each other. We cannot have the dark without the light. And this is to understand the energy of the Empress and the Emperor and the interconnectedness of these two archetypes is to understand the energy of temperance. It's to understand the energy of other pairs in the tarot. It's to understand this huge concept of balance that is crucial to understanding the tarot. The dark and the light, the red and the blue, the black and the white exists in the tarot to show us, right? It keeps like, this is a concept that we keep getting reminded of again and again. Like I said, it's like it's one of those things that you need to get tattooed on your forehead so you remember that this is the basis of tarot. Everything keeps presenting itself to find its way back into balance. The cards that show up are our path back into balance, our path back into wellness, and so forth. But I'm getting off track here. So let's look at these two particular cards. While in the Pagan Tarot, the Queen of Pentacles looks so royal and regal, she is not sitting on a throne. She is barefoot and her feet are in contact with the earth. She is wrapped in the earth. She's wrapped in a twig shawl. Maybe it's not twigs. I don't know what it is, but it's incredibly and look at the flow of her gown, the way that it's moving. She is not still. And if you look in the right corner, there is is that a rock or is it a tent? Oh my goodness, I never even thought about that. I'm sure it's a rock. But she's in movement. She's active. She's doing something. She's participating with the earth. She feels the earth. She's not standing back and observing the earth. There's this, the Empress is I want to say these archetypes are so big. They're so big and they're so, it's sometimes it's impossible to put words around them. So I'm going to give you another example. Hello, Colleen, welcome. Okay, here's an example. When you are struggling with the archetype of mother, when you're struggling with the archetype of mother, whether that is maybe you had an abusive mother, maybe you had an absent mother, maybe you grew up without a mother, maybe you didn't have a mother as a role model. I don't know, maybe who knows what, I mean, there's so many different reasons why we might not identify with the archetype of mother. And when I say mother, I mean that quality that comforts and nurtures and feeds us. So the Queen of Pentacles feeds us, right? She feeds us with food. She provides food in the garden. She teaches us how to cook. She is the grandmother who has all the Sunday dinners where everybody goes and gathers around the family table. The Queen of the Empress energy is a little more untouchable. It's well, I say that it is everything that is manifest. It has a much higher interconnected spiritual frequency that helps us to understand the big picture. And so when we are struggling with the archetype of mother, we can lie down on the grass. We can go for walks in nature. We can take hours and hours to prepare a special meal, which sounds very Queen of Pentacles-ish. But one of the ways to heal the archetype of the mother is to work with the Queen of Pentacles. And so if we work with the Queen of Pentacles, we can heal the energy of mother. A lot of people, I don't know, kind of scoff at the mundane healing messages that the mundane methods of healing because they don't understand the connection and the ripple effect of connecting with the practical. So what I want to say here, because this is kind of important, is that by working with the Queen of Pentacles, we can affect the energy of the Empress. So by doing those things that I said, we touch the Queen of Pentacles, and then it's like the ocean, the energy ripples out, and we begin to feel. We begin to feel and touch something that is intangible. The Empress energy in the big picture is intangible. It's you know, it could represent for sure, you know, like a queen on a throne, ruling a kingdom, acquiring an empire, ruling over an empire. You know, if you think back to somebody like Queen Victoria, who was the Queen of India and the Queen of the Commonwealth and all of that. I mean, there is that, but you think about that particular Empress energy, the Empress of India energy. It's, while she was a real person, she was so not a real person, like so untouchable, so inaccessible. So we can learn from the Queen of Pentacles to affect that bigger archetype. There's something else that I wanted to say. This was important because I was thinking about living empresses, of which there have been not that many, but maybe it will come back. So we do this work with the Queen of Pentacles to heal the bigger archetype. So why does the Empress energy show up in a reading? It shows up, and you know, sometimes it's going to show up with the moon. It's going to show up with the High Priestess. It's going to show up with aspects of the tarot that we need to, it's going to show up with the other stuff that we need to work with as well too. But it's there to show us that we need to focus on, in a big way, in a big picture way, our receptive side, our receptive qualities. Okay, so there's all of this, right? And this is a huge layer, and it's something that I could talk about for hours and hours. Also, this particular the Empress energy is it also affects the astrolog. I mean, all of the majors and minors affect and can be interpreted in astrologically as well too. And while the Empress isn't a major sun, doesn't represent a major sun sign, she has the qualities of Venus. We can bring her energy for sure into aspects of Taurus as well too, with the Hierophant. She can support the energy of the Hierophant, so balancing the energy of the Hierophant. And she's going to support all of the earth signs, and definitely she's going to affect the water signs as well too. You know, the energy of Venus is a really and if you know, the symbol of Venus is on most of the cards. And if you think of the power of Venus and the fact that Aries represents Mars, the Tower represents Mars, I know that, and Aries represents the Emperor represents Aries. But what I'm saying here is we can't extricate these things from each other. And so the more of these layers that you are aware of, the more you'll start to look at your readings as a, you know, like as a I see a web. Sometimes I see a dream catcher. It depends what you want to look at. But when you lay your cards down on the table, the more time you spend with the reading and get away from the 1, 2, 3. And, if you move your cards and put one a little higher, or you move them so they're in a diagonal line if you've just got 3 cards, or you, I don't know, like you make a little triangle. And if it feels like a feminine reading, make a upward facing cup, upward facing, a downward facing triangle. It's just incredibly, there's so much there. There's so many layers there to pick away at. In the minor arcana, so we have a few different ways to work with the minor arcana, astrologically speaking. And with the Golden Dawn, I hope I get this right. And like I said, there's different systems. So in astrology, we have cardinal signs, we have fixed signs, and mutable signs. And the cardinal signs herald in the seasons. They bring in the seasons. So when we start the energy of spring, we have, what do we have? We have, it depends on your interpretation. It depends where you live in the world. And the question is, when we're looking at the court cards, do the queens bring in a season, or do the kings bring in a season? And it depends on the system that you're working with. And so does the queen, and I'm not going to talk about this anymore, but one of the ways to help you understand the queens and the kings is to commit to and decide if the queens are more active and bringing in the season, birthing the season, or whether the queens are fixed and they represent a, more of a immovable energy, experienced energy. And so some people see the queens as cardinal and the kings as fixed, and other people see it in the opposite way. So the kings lead, and they carry the torch and bring in the season, and then the queens are fixed. So you have to pick which of those that you associate with, but that association can really help you decide and to see the energy of the 4 queens in a different way. So the Queen of Earth for me brings in the quietness of winter. And she is I also have this other layer that I work with. And again, there's so many systems out there, but there's a reason why decks appear in a certain order. Some deck creators pack their decks with air coming first. And the energy of air, the idea of thoughts and the mind, is the prevalent suit. And fire comes second. I'm going to say in most RWS decks, fire comes first and then air. For the most part, Pentacles comes at the end. And Pentacles is that filtering down, that it's a groundedness. So we have the idea, we have the idea, we have the fire, we have the will, we have some thought around it, there's some emotions that are invested, and then something is made very, very real. And so with the energy of Pentacles, this feels so integrated. So the Queen of Pentacles she's got it going on. She knows her stuff. I will talk about the shadow side, because there's a shadow side to this. But the Queen of Pentacles she knows a lot. And she has, of all of the queens, she possesses the most integrated aspect of all of the suits, of all of the elements. So this is why these 2 queens are so, why these 2 cards are so difficult to see apart. Looking at these cards, though, you see in this suit, she's sitting on a throne. She's not moving. She's overseeing. She's the overarching receptive energy. This queen is integrated and in touch with the earth. Okay. I like the Light Seer's Queen of Pentacles. I'm sorry, I didn't pull that out today, but yes, that is a beautiful, beautiful deck. So here is Bone Stone. This is the Empress. And here is the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is doing earth magic. She is, again, she's doing something with her integrated energy of the earth. And look at the rainbows behind her. I never thought of this. This is just an aha moment I just had. So you see all these colors behind her, like the colors of the rainbow supporting her. This reminds me of the rainbow suit in the Osho Zen Tarot. And in the Osho Zen Tarot, you really get this feeling of an integrated suit. It's called the suit of rainbows. It's the suit of the whole spectrum of color. So this is a word that I use a lot with the suit of Pentacles. It has to do with our, in the light side of the suit of Pentacles, it has to do with the integration of everything that we have learned in the other suits. The Empress in this deck she is the tree. So this is what I was saying at the beginning. This is the energy in yoga, we call this is the energy of Shakti. This is a divine feminine energy. So Shakti is the tree. And that's why I was saying that you can heal the energy of your mother by connecting with the trees. It's possible. It's possible because then you experience the energy of love and nurturing through being with nature. So this is this little nugget is one of either doing something with the earth, right? There's a movement, and there's an immovable quality to the Empress. She's sitting there, and if you can understand why she might be called. There is a fixed energy. So yeah, so that's actually another word you could use. So there's a fixed and a movable, a flowy energy to one, and more of a static energy to the other. Okay, let's go to textured. And again, we see somebody who is in a throne with beautiful things all around them. And then the Queen of Pentacles has her hands in the clay. And I really like this queen. I love the Queen and King of Pentacles in this deck. I feel so at peace with them. And I think of all of the things I have said so far today, is that one of the most important things is that we can heal the feminine archetype by accessing the Queen of Pentacles. I think that's a nugget of information here. Okay. Each of the court cards, this one is called Textured Tarot. It's by Lisa McLaughlin. It comes out of the UK. It is a collage deck. What was I going to say? So each of the court cards is associated with an element. And the queens across all different interpretations of that are connected with the element of water. So the Queen of Cups, for example, is water, water. The Queen of Pentacles is earth, water. And if you think of the energy of earth and water, it is like earth and water. The water nourishes, the water feeds the earth, the water feeds the plants. If you go in an excessive way, you know, you get mud. But there's this, and I go right away to Ayurveda. So this is it's a very kapha type of energy. It is sweet and soft. It's slower moving. And when we look at body types, this is a body type that is usually it's a fuller body type. It's a full-bodied woman, and it doesn't have to be a woman. I mean, if there is a man who is you know, that nurturing and caring energy, that it's that embrace, it's the embrace of a full-bodied person that holds you so warmly and so tightly, not in an excessive way, but you just feel looked after. It's nurturing. It's so very, very nurturing. And it's so easy to connect with this kind of energy. You just want to be with them. You want to sit. Did you ever have one of those friends or one of those families where everybody goes to that kid's families? You're always at their house for supper because, I don't know, it's just the energy. You just feel looked after. There's always food there. There's always somebody feeding you. And you know, if you cut yourself there, that's where you're going to go and get the Band-Aid put on, and you're going to get the hug, and you know, your boo-boo's going to get kissed. There's a real taking care of energy. You know, the healer archetype also, of course, lives here as well too. Part of the healer archetype. Okay, I'm going to show you. I want to talk a little bit about the Gaian tarot. I'll show you Lovely Om. Lovely Om looks a little bit like the, so when we were looking at the bone stone, here the Queen of Discs is doing magic. So she's, again, doing something with the element of earth. She's doing something with the element of earth. That's beautiful, Shannon. Yeah. I want to I'm just going to go through. And if you aren't familiar with Ayurveda and how the elements work into that, it's a really beautiful layer to help understand the court cards. So in Tarot of the Hidden Realm, I just want to find you one card here. Okay, so this is the Queen of Pentacles in Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And I don't know if Julie Jeffries understands or has studied Ayurveda. Her face, right? She's not, how can you say this? She's not overweight. She's got large breasts, and she's full. There's a fullness to her. You know, the Queen of Pentacles is the full moon, right? She's the full feminine, archetype. What does the Empress look like in this deck? I mean, oh, I know. The Empress is the connection to the World card in this one. The World card and the Empress card in this deck have a beautiful, beautiful relationship. Anyway, my point is here is that there's a real understanding of the aspects of the elements in this deck. I really like Tarot of the Hidden Realm. No, Lydiane, I haven't written about my experiences in India. Maybe when I retire, I will. I don't know. So yeah. So, and last deck we're going to look at today, because this I could be on for hours. Just I love talking about this stuff. So I hope this is giving you a little bit of food for thought. So this is the Gaian Tarot. This is the Llewellyn version. This is not the Schiffer version. This is the Child of Earth. So the Child of Earth is the child who loves to touch the cats. You know, this is the child who is never afraid of animals, right? This is the child who is, I'm not going to say this is the child who's going to climb the tree to get the apples. That's probably the child of fire, but this child is in awe. This child is in awe of that gorgeous red ball that is on the earth. The explorer of earth gets a little more active and begins to, I don't know, forage and perhaps save the animals. And if this person is traveling, it's very much of a nature-based experience. Next in this deck comes the Guardian. So this would connect to the Queens. So here you see a larger man, right? A larger man who is, to me, it looks like he could be picking the bugs off the plants one by one. You know, he's checking the progress of the plant. He's deeply connected. I think he's bent. He's down on one knee. There's a connection with the horse that's in the background, like a protective quality. His arms are bare. There's a connection energy to that. Okay. And then in this deck, there's definitely so the elder of earth, who, if you want to put kings and queens on this, the elder of earth would be the king. But there's a nurturing quality to the guardian of earth, which is the queen. And then the king is and I know I said this about the queens, that's why I'm hesitating. The queen, the elders in this deck are doing something with the element. So there's an integrated nurturing quality with the guardians, and with the kings, there's a practicalness. There's a practicalness to what they do with the element. So how is this different from the Empress in this deck? So this is the Empress in the deck. And I think from my perspective, it might be better if she were not called the gardener, but she's the garden. So I see her as, so Shakti is the garden, not the gardener. The gardener is the Queen of Pentacles. The garden is the Empress. And we saw that. So in Bonestone, the Empress is the earth. The Empress is the tree. Okay. Does that help a little bit? I don't know if that's makes things more confusing, or that does help a little bit. I just want to acknowledge Shannon, who's in the chat, and Colleen and Shannon are chatting, and Hannah as well too. Shannon was on my channel on Saturday. She was one of the readers. Sarah was also there, and I know there was a lot of nervous tension. This is the first time they have done live readings on YouTube, and they both did such a great job. So it's lovely to see you all supporting each other. So yeah, that's really beautiful. Lydia Ann says, interesting to see the Queen of Pentacles like harvest season in the hidden realms. It is the fall season. Yeah. And like I was saying about the astrological associations, so one of the things that I teach is that it is important to work with the deck that you are working with. I don't want to force something on a deck. So if in the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, the Queen of Pentacles feels like a fall, a harvest energy, then I'm going to see the element of earth as that time of year. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult. And that's why one of the reasons I read intuitively is that I want to work with the art. There's a story, there's a lesson in the art. And so if there is so the season of winter is cold. It is the energy where it is moving slowly. It's more, if we're going to do swords in winter, it's more of frozen water. It's not flowing water. And so how about this? How about if you try to put each of the elements in the 4 seasons? And so the flowy, melting water is the runoff in the spring. And the water of summer is where we play in the lakes and the rivers. And sometimes towards the end of summer, there is drought and we have water shortages. Perhaps the water of the fall is torrential and hurricane energy, and then it becomes frozen in the winter. Not everybody lives somewhere where there are 4 seasons. And so you can do this with each of the suits of the minor arcana and see how the energy of the suits, how the energy of the suits and how the energy of the element moves through each of the seasons. Because we can see the elements in all 4 seasons. They're just a little different. Yeah. Okay. So next week we're going to carry on with this feminine energy. And I believe the thumbnail is already up. There's a couple of different requests to work with the Empress energy and the Queens, and also to bring in the energy of the Moon and the High Priestess. So I'm going to try to do all of that together so we can continue to weave and understand the energy of the feminine archetype and the different qualities of the feminine archetype. Yeah. So thank you all for being here today. I saw this earlier, the Oracle Morning Calm. Thank you. I will look that up. Appreciate that. I should actually write that down, because when I go off, I won't remember. Morning Calm. Okay. I have a few different books that I would like to write. Several years back, when I was breastfeeding through perimenopause, I wanted to write a book on exactly that, and also on the healing through menopause. I wanted to write a book about that. That was another thing. Of course, there's a tarot book that's in the works. I really just need to step away and write And I totally understand why writers have to go away into seclusion to write a book. It's it's very hard when you are busy. Good. I'm glad that makes sense for you. Hello, Andy. I didn't see you come in. Wonderful. Ferns are so beautiful. You know, they're one of the plants where you can almost watch a time lapse. You know, you can, if you go through the same path every day and you follow the 4 seasons, it's like, because you get to see the, I can't even think of, the people harvest them, certain ones, you know, the fern, I can't even think of the name, the fiddlehead. You can see the emerging little bit, and then you can see the fiddlehead and the growth, and ferns are such a beautiful plant to observe. Thank you, Kiara. Right. Okay. Beautiful. Well, thank you for being here. I'm just going to regroup. I was away this weekend, and I'm going to pull the card and post the archetype of the week in the Facebook group. So I'm going to do that, get the thumbnail up for live readings at 12. And yeah, and tonight we have, tonight I have my class, Tarot Foundations class. And I'm sure you've heard me say, but Tarot Foundations 2022 is starting to fill up. And so if you're interested in hopping on for 22 weeks with me, be sure to sign up sooner than later. And for once, end of September, I'm going to start a couple of bonus classes for Tarot Foundations 2022. And I might actually do a special class and have the Tarot Foundations 2021 and Tarot Foundations 2022 people get together and do something. So there's going to be lots of, I won't say lots, there's going to be some bonus material for signing up early for Tarot Foundations 2022. So yeah. Anyway, hope to see you later. Namaste, everybody. Bye-bye.